In outer suburban Melbourne, in Dandenong's Little India, things are buzzing in Steve Khan's barbershop. But it's quiet outside. JobKeeper saved his business when the pandemic hit and people were forced to stay at home.
It was such a scary time at that time because we didn't know, really, because there was no income, no people on the streets, no nothing.
Mr. Khan has already reduced his staff from 13 to 5 and closed a grocery store. The businessman is weighing up what to do now the JobKeeper wage subsidy is finished.
We would be struggling to sort of pay the wages, pay the rent, so there's a lot of expenses. So I don't know, let's see, so we hope for the best.
This has always been a temporary program. This was always an emergency payment. And at $90 billion, it's the single largest economic support program that any Australian government has ever undertaken.
At the height of the pandemic, JobKeeper was supporting 3.5 million workers, almost a third of the workforce. Those numbers have fallen as restrictions have eased, confidence lifted, and the economic recovery has begun. But as Brisbane's lockdown shows us, things can change overnight.
Look, this is going to be part of the Australian way of life until everyone is vaccinated.
When JobKeeper ended yesterday, there were just under 1 million workers relying on it. Treasury estimates 150,000 of those people could become unemployed.
And there'll be an inevitable job losses, and there'll also be business closures. Presently, we just can't say the extent of it, but that will be the result.
Insolvency expert Kirsten Farmer is preparing for what she calls a gentle wave of companies going into administration. Insolvency laws were essentially suspended last year. So despite the recession, the number of companies going under actually fell by half.
Those that have been relying solely on JobKeeper, those are the ones that will collapse immediately. But the others, there'll be a gentle, slow work out of what their position is.
Adrian Hunter, partner at insolvency firm Brooke, agrees.
I don't think there's going to be the same level of shock and awe happening within the wider community. These businesses haven't traded since last year. They've driven past that shop, that outlet. Yep, they've moved on and they've already adjusted their own business to realise that that debt's not going to be recoverable.
His firm was one of 900,000 businesses that used the scheme to keep staff employed when economic demand slumped during the crisis.
It enabled us to keep all of our employees on the payroll, replicated across many Australian businesses. And so yes, I think it has been successful, but how long can it keep going?
Expert advice is consistent. Businesses that seek help earlier have more options.
And what we're hoping to see in this time is for those companies that do have some cash and do think they can hang on to go and get some expert advice sooner rather than later.
For small business owners like Steve Khan, it's going to be a tough April.
It's really been very, very helpful, and it's very unfortunate that they are sort of stopping it in March.
As we move into the second year of living with COVID-19.